Runner, table 22.
It looks like the busy kitchen of a five-star restaurant. But wait a minute, look a little closer. The chefs here are making pastries, petit fours, breads, croissants, and wedding cakes. But they're also stir-frying Chinese delicacies and rolling traditional Japanese sushi. While around the corner, Italian risotto is being filled with sausage next to Thai dumplings, next to a chocolate concoction getting a final flame with a blowtorch. If it seems like the craziest, busiest, most eclectic restaurant in the world, that's because it is. Well, sort of.
It's known as the C.I.A., but it's not what you think. It's the Culinary Institute of America, where cloaks and daggers are replaced by white aprons and saucepans. Master chefs from the finest restaurants around the world have perfected their craft behind the closed doors of the C.I.A.
From the outside, it could be just about any Tony Ivy League college. Housed in a turn-of-the-century former Jesuit seminary on the banks of the Hudson River, the C.I.A. occupies 150 beautifully manicured acres, about 80 miles north of New York City. Just like Penn State or Yale, the students here live in dorms, work out at the rec center, and shop for supplies at the campus bookstore. But in here, they're not shopping for biology textbooks, they're picking out cookbooks, and instead of pens and notebooks, they're stocking up on whisks and spatulas. That's because the C.I.A. is the Harvard of cooking schools, the only live-in culinary college anywhere.
Our mission is to provide the best possible culinary training in the world and to generate the passion within people, which is a crucial element.
Since its founding in 1946, more than 30,000 chefs have trained at the C.I.A. And we're not talking short-order cooks here. C.I.A. alumni fill the kitchens at five-star restaurants around the world. They host shows on the TV Food Network, and even the White House has an executive chef who graduated from the C.I.A. At any given time, more than 2,000 aspiring chefs from around the world are enrolled at the C.I.A. And it's not cheap. A 2-year cooking degree will set you back $32,000. A 4-year degree in cooking and restaurant management adds up to just around $50 grand. Students range in age from 17 to 65, and many have already graduated from more traditional schools.
I wanted to be an attorney up until my senior year in college, and just suddenly had a change of heart. Decided that I wouldn't go to law school and that I was going to go to pastry school instead.
I've worked in restaurants my whole life and, paid my college cooking. So then I decided, okay, well, maybe I'll try it out instead of going the same road everybody else does, getting their master's degree. I decided to come here.
The heart of the curriculum here takes place in the 39 kitchens on campus, where students spend 6 to 12 hours a day learning the practical techniques they'll need to be master chefs. The food they prepare feeds the students, who have 2 gourmet meals a day included in the tuition. They also cook for the staff, stock the campus pastry shop, and ultimately will be assigned to one of 4 on-campus restaurants that are open to the public. Here, they get a taste of the pressure that comes with the job.
About how many times you've been at home and you made a recipe and it didn't come out well, and then think about serving it to 30 or 40 or 50 people every day. Suddenly you realize why it's stressful.
When I came here, I realized the long hours, the heat, and the stress that really was involved. I understood that standing on your feet for 10 hours is a little tougher than it may sound. So there was definitely a period of adjustment.
Cooking is only part of a typical day at the C.I.A. There are also traditional lecture halls where students take a dizzying array of classes that touch on every aspect of the restaurant business, from meat identification to beverage management. And while other college students are drinking wine on the weekends, C.I.A. students are getting graded on it in classes where they learn the ABCs of wine tasting.
I walked in with virtually no wines knowledge and walked out knowing just an incredible lot. So I feel very comfortable going to a restaurant and ordering a bottle of wine.
But before you get to wines and spirits, every incoming freshman has to learn the basics. So while new students at Stanford are herded into English Lit 101, at the C.I.A. it's Celery 101. Well, they call it Basic Nutrition. And this isn't a firing squad for unruly students, it's gastronomy class, where students learn to train their taste buds.
Connecting the mind to the palate will give you that edge you need as a chef to move beyond what you like and don't like and into understanding food with a greater sense or depth.
With blindfolds on, students are expected to identify not only what they're eating, but also what color it is. To pass the test today, you must be able to taste the difference between a red, an orange, and a yellow pepper.
What's your immediate response? What color?
Yellow.
Why?
Just has a sweeter flavor to it. Tastes.
Sweeter than the red?
Yes.
A great chef has to have the basics absolutely in place and under command. And above all, the person has to know taste. Oftentimes we get caught by presentation and all. That's all great, but when it comes right down to it, there's only one thing that's important: taste.
Has to taste good.
Taste.
The first kitchen course is Basic Skills. Under the direction of Master Chef Martin Fry, freshmen spend 28 solid days learning what are called knife skills.
We always try to cut away from ourselves.
Oh, okay.
We never cut towards ourselves. So
Today's assignment: create a mise en place, a platter of perfectly sliced, diced, and peeled vegetables to go into their chicken consommé.
Just like you have to finish a math assignment or write a term paper, this will get a grade today for you, right? This is yours?
This is my mise en place for the day.
All right. Are you going to get an A on this, you think?
Usually I get a 5 out of 5 for it, so yeah.
5 out of 5, that's an A. That's
Yeah,
an A plus
it's an A, so-
in my book.
Then it was my turn to take a stab at basic knife skills. We started out with potatoes. Now, I've diced a few potatoes over the years, but Chef Fry demands an incredible amount of precision.
And what is important, when we look at these pieces, they are nice and square.
Oh, yours
You
are
see that?
perfect.
Well, I do that for over 40 years.
yeah.
So.
I never imagined I'd feel pressure cutting a potato, but with Chef Fry looking over my shoulder, it was a little intimidating.
If they're,
Am I pretty
if they're
much
slightly off, then we just square them out a little bit.
Okay.
Okay?
I
Like
mean,
that.
you want perfection here, don't ya? Woo!
It was fine for me to take 5 minutes to dice a potato, but students are expected to be not only precise, but also fast. Chef Fry showed me the trick to rapid-fire slicing.
We use that finger. So I'm a lefty, I use my right finger as a guard.
That would be my
Okay? With other words, I slice like that.
Okay.
Okay? You just move the finger, and you don't have to look where you slice. You see that? Just like that.
I can't even take my eyes off of it. It's not my finger.
No, as I said, it needs a lot of practice.
That's
and
for sure.
I tried the technique on a carrot, not quite up to speed.
I know you're not supposed to have to look, but I'm looking.
That's fine. No, you're supposed to look. It's just after a while.
But I now see this absolutely works.
Yes, it
It
does.
absolutely works. I've never known that.
I went slowly because the knives at the C.I.A. were the sharpest I'd ever used, and apparently even the most experienced chef can make a slip.
You ever cut yourself?
Oh, yes. If you would like to see here, here, over here, 17 stitches over here, and all the top is cut up.
So there's a lot of danger to this
Yes,
job.
it is, yes. Here at the school, we even have our own nurses here.
To take care of everybody
Yes,
that cuts
yeah,
themselves or
absolutely.
burns themselves.
Absolutely, yes.
When I first started here and I went through the skills classes, my mom told me that she was going to start a blood drive back home just for me because every time I called her, I said, oh, I cut myself again today in class.
After I'd practiced my knife skills for a while, it was time to move on to something more advanced. Next up, I tackle sushi, pastry, and a block of ice with a chainsaw.
Behind Closed Doors will continue in a moment here on A&E. Behind Closed Doors with Joan Lunden continues here on A&E.
Behind the closed doors of the Culinary Institute of America, the other C.I.A., it's obvious right away that you're not in a typical American college. But the one thing that really sets the C.I.A. apart is something you can't see. It's the smell.
I know why you work in here. It smells so good, I don't even know what to say.
From every closed door, hallway, and elevator come delicious reminders that we're in America's premier cooking school. But before students can eat what they've created, they have to be graded.
Culinary has to be clear. Then be looking for color.
In Chef Fry's kitchen, it was time to line up with your consommé.
That looks very nice. Looks nice and clear. Nice garnish. Nice in size. I hope they're fully cooked and taste good.
They are this time, I'm pretty sure about it.
It is beautiful. That, marvelous stuff. Very nice, thank you. Nice chicken consommé.
With the proliferation of chefs on TV and shows, I think it's just kind of fun in the kitchen, but it is hard work and it takes a lot of creativity and innovation.
I got a taste of just how much hard work is involved when the C.I.A. staff put me through a smorgasbord of classes. After basic skills, I was ready to do some cooking. I joined an Asian cuisine class where Chef Shirley Cheng demonstrated how to make a kind of Japanese omelet.
Okay, there you go. One more, just pan, flip that. Chopstick, just lightly hold it this.
Okay, wait a second.
There you go. Nice job. Very good.
Okay.
All right.
Once the eggs were done, it was on to fotomaki, the sushi rolls I love to eat but had no idea how to make.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Don't smoosh that. You gotta go. Sit my hands
like
over
that,
the
like
top.
that way.
Otherwise, they get loose inside. Okay. Go like this.
I've had them before where they're loose inside. You know, somebody who's got
Must
in
be
a hurry,
students,
right?
Must be a student over there. Okay.
No sooner was I done with sushi than it was time to go to the pastry kitchens for bread making class.
Kind of like you're diapering a baby. You know?
Just
All right.
Here, the assignment was to turn out 300 lunchtime croissants.
Am I doing Chef?
Yes, great. How it works. Yes, you see here.
That one's cleaner. This one looks better, right?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
of course it will pop up.
All right, so I'm learning, right? Getting better.
Of course.
Next challenge, a chocolate concoction called a cassis bomb.
You see here. Let me show you one. Alrighty.
What can be bad about this? Is it hard for students to learn this? In other words, do you have to have a flair, or can anyone learn to do this?
I think if people have patience and an eye for beauty, pastry is just the right job.
Does it look good enough to eat? I hope.
So much eating goes on around here that I started to wonder about that old adage about the freshman 15. You know, the 15 pounds many students put on in their first year of college? Well, it must be the freshman 50 at the C.I.A.
Eating all day long was a big thing when you first came. You ate a 3-course meal for lunch and for dinner, and that got very overwhelming very quickly. I mean, granted, eating filet mignon and frog's legs and rack of lamb, so I found myself only eating 2 meals a day, and sometimes it went down to 1 meal a day.
And in spite of the abundance of gourmet delicacies, there are still those occasional urges for some fast food.
But not 2 days after people arrive here, they're like, who's got a car, we can go to McDonald's.
In fact, one of the few people who admitted to eating fast food was none other than the president himself.
Fast food restaurant, of course. And you know why? I have to know what goes on there. I mean, I happen to think that there are some fast food restaurants whose French fries you probably can't do a whole lot better.
Food isn't the only thing on the minds of the chefs at the C.I.A. Presentation gets almost as much attention as taste. So for my final assignment, it was off to ice sculpting class, where aspiring chefs learn to carve elaborate centerpieces. It starts with a pre-etched block of ice. With chainsaw in hand, I had an hour to turn this hunk of melting water into a graceful swan.
think it's loose now. There we go. The swan's got a neck. It's a beautiful thing.
The ice was melting and the pressure was on as I picked up the chisel for the fine detail work.
Oh, it's not that hard. Okay.
No, it's
that's
close.
really.
Cut's nice.
This is so much fun. Oops. His wing is broken. Poor swan.
After an hour of carving and chiseling, I wasn't sure if I had created a swan or an ugly duckling.
Would I at least get like a C+ or something?
Oh, definitely.
B- maybe?
Maybe better.
I'm pushing for a B- here.
This was my final test, and even though everyone was very kind about my swan, I knew they were going easy on me. That's not the case for the real students here. Every step of the way they're pushed to perfection. And before they can graduate, they have to put it all together in one event called the Grand Buffet.
Behind this closed door, students are preparing to take their final exam, or in this case, cook it. It's the culmination of 2 years of chopping, baking, carving, and serving. It's a real-life pressure cooker, where the better the taste, the better the grade.
It's down to the finishing touches on the final assignment, a banquet to serve 200 people.
I need 3 people over here. 1, 2, 3 trays.
As an endless parade of trays makes the trek from the kitchens, there's a flurry of preparations in the banquet hall, where presentation is a big part of the grade.
Are we all planned out here approximately? All right.
Then it's showtime as crowds of students and faculty members come to sample the best that the new class has to offer.
It really boils down to it's you, the food, and the technique. And what can you do with it? And I think that makes it very profound. And I think this is what cooking is all about.
The amazing thing for me coming here is how the food world suddenly opens up and how food touches so many different things. And I think that's what's so exciting.
It's changed me forever. It's changed the way I look at things. It has.
All right, so maybe I didn't learn all the secrets of the C.I.A., but I gave it the good old college try. And after just 4 more years of this, and this, and this, and this, and this, maybe even I could join the ranks of the new and exciting chefs coming out of the C.I.A. every year. For A&E, I'm Joan Lunden.